Hi everyone. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name is Riley. Welcome to my garden, and this week we're going to be planting some red noodle beans, and we're going to be talking about caterpillar control. Right, Bella? Right. So if you've been to my channel and you've seen any of the 13 videos so far this season, you may remember that I had 3 tomato plants growing here, and I lost all 3 of them, unfortunately. Not to worry, I have more tomato plants growing. In fact, I harvested some today, and that sometimes happens in the garden. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's just gardening. But this year's been a little different in my garden because normally the caterpillar I'm dealing with is the tomato hornworm caterpillar. And I'm pretty programmed in to finding these guys. But this year, this is the caterpillar that's been attacking the plants in my garden. Now normally, what I do every year to control caterpillars is I use Bacillus thuringiensis, which is this, and it's a completely organic bacterium that you mix in water in a spray can like this, and you spray the leaves of your plants, and caterpillars will eat that leaf and they will get indigestion, not be able to eat anymore, and they die. Well, if it rains, you need to reapply, and normally you would apply once a week. But this year we've been getting a lot of evening rain, just short rainstorms. It's been washing off my Bacillus thuringiensis, and I have not, or was not, diligent in getting out here every night and checking these plants. We get busy and life gets complicated, but the problem is you pay for it. So these tomato plants that were here got so badly eaten up and they got so diseased from it and the growth was stunted. I just said, hey, we're going to cut our losses. The San Marzanos this year are a failure. I'm going to accept it. I'm going to move on, focus on the other plants in my garden, and I'm going to really focus on getting out here every day and checking these plants. Now, what I'm doing here for these red noodle pole beans is I'm just putting a hole in the soil about a little past the first knuckle on my finger, about 3 inches apart, and I'm going to drop 2 seeds in per hole. These are from Johnny's Seeds, and the germination rate, they say, is 95% on this lot. So we'll just drop them in. So this year, it's a bit depressing, right? You work so hard in raising these plants, and then if you don't stay on top of it as a gardener, wow, we pay for it. I mean, we pay for it. And I have never seen that caterpillar in my garden in the 5 years I've lived here in South Texas. I've never seen it. Always seen the tomato hornworm caterpillar. It's been my nemesis, and Bacillus thuringiensis works amazing against that caterpillar. Any caterpillar, it works amazing. But that little black caterpillar you saw was on my French marigolds. And in general, this has been a very odd year for insects in my garden. Normally, I am fighting and fighting and fighting the cucumber beetle all over my melon plants and my cucumber plants, but I haven't seen a single cucumber beetle in my garden this year. Now, maybe that's because I planted out French marigolds, and those French marigolds are really preventing those, repelling those cucumber beetles. But I've not seen one. And I've seen also this year more ladybugs than I have ever seen in my garden, which is a good thing. But those little black caterpillars that I just showed you a picture of, man, they have done a number on some of my plants. In fact, one of my cucumber plants is really badly damaged as well, but it's coming back. I've been really diligent about checking it. looking for caterpillar droppings on them, spraying them with the Bacillus thuringiensis after it rains. I've learned my lesson, and you know, it's a tough lesson to learn. Like I said, you put in all that time and effort into growing these plants from seed, and you lose them just when they're starting to take off. All I'm doing here is I'm just filling up these holes with a little bit of soil. I'm going to come back in a few minutes with the hose, and I'll spray this down. Now, I have soaker hoses in these beds, so this soil is pretty moist anyway, but I'm going to give it a little bit of extra water just to start with, and there you go. Done. So caterpillar control. Remember, guys, ladies and gentlemen, Bacillus thuringiensis, your first line of defense against caterpillars. Like I said, completely harmless. It's organic. But you still have to get out there, especially if you have frequent rain, and check those plants. And you really, we need to spend about 15 minutes an evening, 15 minutes a day, just to get out in the garden. And I failed. And I failed, and I paid for it. But hopefully, we're going to have some red noodle beans instead of those San Marzanos. So we got that going for us, which is nice. Little Caddyshack reference for you on the final day of the PGA Championship. Hey, thanks for visiting. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing, and we'll see you next week.